Imagine living without debt stress, social media anxiety, or career pressure. No school shootings to fear, no retirement worries, no technology addiction destroying family dinners. While we struggle with depression, divorce, and digital overwhelm, there's a community that rejected all of this decades ago. They saw where modern life was heading and made a radical choice that saved them from our current crisis. The Crossroads, the year was 1968. Across America, public schools were consolidating into larger districts. Modern education was becoming the standard. For most families, this meant progress. For the Amish, it meant a crossroads that would test their deepest convictions. Government officials demanded compliance. Amish children must attend consolidated high schools. They must learn standardized curricula. They must prepare for careers in the modern world. The message was clear: integrate or face legal consequences. Accept integration into modern society or fight to preserve their way of life. The choice they made would define their community forever. Fear factor. What exactly do the Amish fear about the modern world? It's not electricity itself. It's not cars or computers as objects. Their fear runs deeper than technology. They fear what these things do to families. They fear the breakdown of community through individualism. They fear children losing connection to the values that have sustained generations. The Amish understand something we're just beginning to realize. Every convenience comes with a cost. Every labor-saving device changes relationships. Every step toward efficiency moves us away from each other. They see modern families eating dinner while staring at phones. They watch children prefer screens to conversations. They observe communities where neighbors don't know each other's names. They chose to stop walking down that path before it led them away from what they valued most. Gelassenheit, philosophy. At the heart of Amish separation lies a principle called Gelassenheit. In English, it means yielding or submission. But it's more than that. It's the conscious choice to put community above self, humility above achievement, service above success. It's the deliberate decision to remain small in a world that demands you become big. This philosophy crashes directly into modern culture's core belief that individual achievement matters most. Social media celebrates personal accomplishment. Career advancement requires self-promotion. Modern life demands that we stand out, speak up, and put ourselves forward. Success means rising above others, accumulating more, achieving recognition. The Amish see this as spiritual poison. They believe pride destroys souls and communities, so they've built walls around themselves to keep it out. Their separation isn't about rejecting the world. It's about rejecting worldliness. Technology testing. Here's what might surprise you about Amish technology use. They don't reject everything modern. Walk through an Amish community today, and you'll find solar panels on barns, LED lights in workshops, pneumatic tools in furniture shops, even some cell phones, carefully regulated and shared among families. The Amish evaluate every piece of technology through a single question: does this strengthen or weaken our community? If a tool helps families work together, it passes the test. If it isolates individuals or promotes pride, it fails. Community committees meet regularly to discuss new technologies. These aren't quick decisions. They study how innovations affect other Amish communities. They test items carefully, watching for unintended consequences. They understand that once you accept a technology, removing it becomes nearly impossible. Cars failed the test because they enable independence from community. Telephones in homes failed because they reduce face-to-face conversation. Internet access failed because it connects families to the outside world more than to each other. But a shared community phone booth passes the test. Solar power for essential work passes. Refrigeration for food preservation passes. The standard isn't about old versus new. It's about community impact. Education warfare. The clash over education reached its climax in 1972 with Wisconsin versus Yoder, a Supreme Court case that would define religious freedom in America. The state demanded Amish children attend public high school. The Amish refused, willing to go to prison rather than comply. Their argument wasn't about academic quality. It was about spiritual survival. They believed high school education would destroy their children's faith and community connection. 4 more years of formal schooling would teach children to question authority, pursue individual goals, and prepare for careers that would take them away from home. The Amish won that case, establishing their right to end formal education after 8th grade. But the victory came with ongoing tension. Every generation brings new pressure to conform to modern educational standards. What happens inside Amish schools reveals their priorities. Classes end at 8th grade, but learning continues through apprenticeships. Children master practical skills: farming, carpentry, homemaking, business management. They learn to solve problems with their hands rather than Google searches. The Amish argue that their children receive better education for the lives they'll actually live. While modern students graduate with degrees but no practical skills, Amish youth can build houses, run businesses, and sustain families by age 20. They measure educational success by community contribution rather than individual achievement. Economic independence. Amish separation creates surprising economic strength. Their businesses thrive without modern marketing, credit systems, or corporate structures. They've built a parallel economy that serves their separation while engaging the outside world carefully. Walk through Lancaster County, and you'll find Amish furniture shops with 6-month waiting lists. Construction crews sought after for their quality and reliability. Farmers selling organic produce to restaurants desperate for authentic ingredients. They've discovered that their separation itself has market value. The cash-only economy protects them from debt slavery that burdens modern families. No mortgages stretching 30 years. No credit card payments consuming monthly income. No student loans following children into adulthood. When Amish families need money for major purchases, the community provides interest-free loans, repaid through work and mutual aid. This creates fascinating paradoxes. Amish tourism generates millions of dollars by showcasing their rejection of modern life. Visitors pay to experience simplicity, then return to complexity. Restaurants serve Amish cooking to people who've forgotten how to cook. Gift shops sell handmade items to consumers addicted to mass production. The Amish navigate this carefully. They'll sell to the outside world, but they won't adopt its values. They'll use modern tools for production, but reject modern attitudes about competition, profit maximization, and individual wealth accumulation. Their economic success proves that separation doesn't mean poverty. By controlling their relationship with money, rather than letting money control them, they've achieved something modern society struggles to understand: economic security without economic anxiety. Rumspringa Reality. Rumspringa challenges everything outsiders think they know about Amish separation. At 16, young people enter a period of relative freedom. They can experience the modern world their parents rejected. They can drink, party, use technology, wear modern clothes, and date outside the community. This isn't rebellion, it's strategy. The Amish understand something profound about human psychology. Forbidden fruit always looks sweeter, so they remove the forbidden aspect. They let their children taste modern life fully, knowing most will spit it out. The statistics tell the story. Despite complete freedom to leave, 90% of Amish youth choose baptism and lifelong commitment to the community. They experience modern life and reject it consciously, not from ignorance. What do they discover during Rumspringa that sends them running back? They find modern life lonely despite constant connection. They discover careers that pay well but provide no meaning. They experience relationships based on attraction rather than commitment. They see families where parents and children live like strangers under the same roof. The youth who do leave permanently often struggle with regret for decades. They gain individual freedom but lose community belonging. They achieve career success but sacrifice family closeness. They escape Amish restrictions but inherit modern anxieties their parents protected them from experiencing. Rumspringa serves another purpose. It validates the choice to separate. When young people return after experiencing both worlds, they become the strongest advocates for Amish life. They can't be accused of ignorance about alternatives. They've tasted the modern world and chosen differently. This testing period strengthens rather than weakens Amish separation. Each generation proves to itself that their parents' choice was correct. The modern world offers more options but less satisfaction, more freedom but less peace, more opportunity but less meaning. The price: Amish separation demands sacrifices that would horrify most modern families. These costs are real, painful, and sometimes heartbreaking. Understanding them reveals the depth of their commitment to their chosen way of life. Medical care presents constant dilemmas. Amish families reject health insurance, choosing to pay cash or rely on community support for medical bills. This works for routine care and minor emergencies. But when children need expensive surgeries, when cancer requires costly treatments, when disabilities demand ongoing care, the financial burden can devastate families. Some Amish children have died from preventable diseases because parents trusted traditional remedies over modern medicine. Others have suffered permanent disabilities that could have been prevented with early intervention. The community accepts these tragedies as God's will, but the pain for individual families remains enormous. Educational restrictions limit children's futures in ways that become apparent only later. Bright Amish children who could have become doctors, engineers, or scientists never get the chance to develop their potential. Their eighth-grade education, perfectly adequate for traditional Amish life, becomes a prison if they later want different careers. Family divisions create the deepest wounds. When children choose to leave the community, they're often shunned by parents, siblings, and lifelong friends. Parents miss their children's weddings and never meet their grandchildren because the children live in the forbidden English world. Mental health challenges multiply in isolated communities. Depression, anxiety, and other conditions often go untreated because they're seen as spiritual problems rather than medical ones. Young people struggling with their identity have fewer resources and support systems. The pressure to conform can be overwhelming for those who don't fit traditional molds. Yet, despite these sacrifices, most Amish families believe the benefits outweigh the costs. They've chosen community stability over individual opportunity. They've selected spiritual security over material advancement. Children's future. The most controversial aspect of Amish separation involves their children's futures. Critics argue that limiting education to 8th grade robs children of opportunities and choices. Supporters claim it protects them from a world that would destroy their souls and fracture their families. Amish children grow up knowing their life path with certainty. Boys will learn farming, carpentry, or other approved trades. Girls will master homemaking, child rearing, and family management. There's no career anxiety, no college debt, no existential crisis about life purpose. Their roles are defined, their community ready to support them. But this certainty comes at a cost. Brilliant Amish children who could excel in sciences, arts, or professions never get the chance to discover their potential. Their talents are channeled into traditional roles regardless of personal interests or abilities. The community gains stability but loses innovation and individual expression. The Amish argue that modern children face different limitations. They're educated for careers that may not exist in 20 years. They accumulate debt for degrees that don't guarantee employment. They're prepared for individual success but not for family happiness or community contribution. Research on Amish mental health reveals surprising findings. Despite limited options, Amish children show lower rates of anxiety, depression, and suicide than their modern counterparts. Their restricted choices paradoxically create greater life satisfaction. They know who they are, where they belong, and what's expected of them. The question becomes, is unlimited choice actually freedom, or is it another form of prison? Modern lessons. What can modern society learn from Amish separation? Their experiment in alternative living offers insights that challenge our assumptions about progress, happiness, and human fulfillment. First, they've proven that happiness doesn't require constant stimulation or unlimited choices. Their simple pleasures, family dinners, community gatherings, seasonal celebrations provide satisfaction that expensive entertainment cannot match. They've rediscovered that boredom isn't the enemy. It's the space where creativity and relationships grow. Second, they demonstrate that economic security doesn't require endless growth or consumption. Their modest lifestyles provide genuine prosperity, paid-off homes, debt-free living, and community support systems that government programs cannot replicate. They've achieved what modern financial advisors preach but few accomplish, living below their means and prioritizing relationships over possessions. Third, they show that technology should serve human purposes rather than determining them. By evaluating each innovation's impact on community and family, they avoid the unintended consequences that plague modern society. They use technology as a tool rather than becoming its slave. Most importantly, they've preserved something modern society has lost: the knowledge that human beings are fundamentally social creatures who need belonging more than achievement. Their separation isn't just about rejecting modernity. It's about embracing an alternative definition of success based on relationships, community contribution, and spiritual growth. Perhaps their greatest lesson is that stepping backward can actually be moving forward, especially when everyone else is rushing toward a cliff. Wisdom found. The Amish made their choice in the 1962nd, when they saw the direction modern society was heading. Today, as we battle anxiety, depression, broken families, and digital addiction, their decision looks prophetic. They understood something we're just beginning to realize. Progress isn't always progressive. Sometimes, stepping backward is actually moving forward. Their separation wasn't about rejecting progress. It was about preserving what matters most. While we chase success that leaves us empty, they chose sufficiency that brings peace. They remind us that happiness isn't found in having everything, but in knowing what's enough. What modern convenience would you give up for deeper family connections? Subscribe to explore more communities that chose differently and discover wisdom for our overwhelming world.